Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Let me shut this music off and we'll get down to talk about what's going on. I hope I sound okay. Everybody can tell me now to cut that music off. I got some music choices. I picked that song there. I don't know if it sounds any good. But anyway, let's see who all's here. Hi, John. How you doing? Hi, Sandy. How you doing? I hope my volume's coming in good, and I hope it's clear. But we've got some heavy weather, as you know. Many of you are going through some heavy weather, so you should know what I'm going through. Hi, Donna. How you doing, honey? B-Dog, how you? Mac0311. Doc Honeycutt. Kingara, how you doing? Boy, that came in there bold print. That banner I just made it a couple of seconds ago. How you doing, Philo? How you doing, Quilt? So, oh, good. I got a 5x5. That sounds good. I tried doing a little something else with my microphone, put it in a different location, and I'll try not to get loud, as I often am wont to do. Hi, Jan. How you doing? So I put in my title, Katie Hobbs Inaugural MVP Ceremony. We're going to talk about a lot of other things, but I put in SCOTUS Remands and Nancy Pelosi and more. So that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We got Christmas knocking at the door. Santa Claus, he'll be coming down the chimney. So anyway, I heard that Carrie Lake herself said that she expected Katie Hobbs to be inaugurated. And I do want to talk about this because there's a lot of hopeful notions that this court thing is going to stop the inauguration and give the election back to Carrie. And, you know, things just don't work out that way in a courtroom. Whoever wins or prevails, they're going to appeal it. And there's going to be steps to be heard at the appellate level. I doubt this is something the Supreme Court would bypass the appellate court over or grant a writ of certiorari like they did with the case, the Brunson case. This is something I think is going to have to go through the motions, so to speak. So I think that she's going to be sending out invitations. Katie will be, yeah. Everybody's picking out their dresses, even some of the guys. So just be ready for that. That's right, John. 19 and 20, 19-inch ballot. Or I can't say that word. See, isn't it great we have free speech? I just have to worry about everything that I say. Other than that, it's free speech. Oh, I know what I can say. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. I can say that, right? So anyway, I've been watching it all day. And yesterday I watched quite a bit of the court situation, and it's been very interesting. They had a guy on there. They finished up their case. The government, I'll say, in Arizona, they finished their case up with a guy who was just so out there in left field. By that I mean a lefty, that it was almost laughable. But it's also much of it is individual perceptions. You know, people who don't want anything to do with the MAGA agenda. Hi, happy days. Anybody who doesn't want anything to do with the MAGA agenda is going to see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear until they get woken up somehow. Hi, Waking Trillium. Hi, Nikki B. How are you? How you doing? So, what this guy did, he said he started off his testimony trashing a pro Kerry Lake pollster who described his methods and talked about how things were out of skew and not, in line with past elections and what the problems would be. Well, this guy gets up and says, "Oh, he is doing a sleight of hand with the numbers and blah blah blah." And one of Kerry Lake's attorneys said, "In your brief, didn't you write this down?" And he started saying what was textbook MSDMC talking points, that this was delusional arguments against a valid selection, much like the discredited claims thrown out by so many courts over the Donald J. Trump big lie, and on and on and on. He said, "Well, I'm not sure if I put that in my report." Well, you wrote the report, didn't you? Do you remember writing that? Yeah, I do. So he was, without any offer of evidence, confirming, as a matter of professional opinion, in my mind, a bunch of leftist gibberish that has been promulgated through the mainstream media, which we're finding out now has been pretty much steered and controlled by three-letter agencies in our own government. So it was kind of interesting, and they did their closing arguments today. But I watched some other channels and stuff, and I get the feeling that people are expecting, that this is all going to get turned around and Kerry's going to be installed as governor, or they're going to do a new election, and they may do all that. But I'm pretty sure Katie Hobbs is going to be, like I say, picking out her dress for inaugural. So don't let that get you down, okay? How you buy me a coffee? How you doing, Red? Let me see here. I got to figure out how to work this thing. Okay, it says here, wait a minute. Channel support link in the description. Thank you. Boom, with a boom behind it. So it's in the description. If you want to do ZELLE, it's got the ZELLE email there. If that is something easier for you to do, Red. And I want to thank Aaron, Robin, Kristen, Wanda, Sandy, Norman, Killer Fuzz, somebody one, somebody two. I haven't seen, I hope I get to see some of these people. I haven't seen a few of them in a while. Kristen was in here the other night, and Aaron. But, yeah, I saw Robin too. But anyway, folks, don't get miffed or down if they inaugurate her. Because as I told the story, the first governor of Arizona ever in 1917 had someone get it inaugurated first, and he contested it in court, and the first one that got inaugurated was removed, and the first governor of Arizona, that's how he became governor, in a contested election. So don't give up, and don't get anybody to get you to be angry or do something out of line or think that everything's over with. I think we've got a lot of a show to put on yet, because I always remember what Donald Trump said. I might get a clip of that, where he said the American people haven't felt it enough. They just haven't felt it enough, but they will. And this was not that long ago. So let me see. I'll put this one up. SCOTUS Focus, Black Letter of the Law. Because I haven't got too many new banners. this one is still got some importance to it, which is in Georgia, as many of you probably heard, there was a case by a voter group that was challenging what was going on in Georgia, and even some of these counties I can't say the name of, or I could get in trouble. But it's FUL is one half of it, TON is the other, the county. And they kept getting their cases kicked out, and they appealed it. I think the 10th District Court of Appeals, and they kicked it out too, said they didn't have any standing. And the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas and the gang, or I guess you say Justice Roberts and the gang, remanded it. I've used that term in the past. Remanded the case back to the Court of Appeals and told them to take a second look at it. In other words, they don't want to say, we're embarrass the other court. They just say, hey, you need to look at this again, and you'll see what you missed. So I said that might have been the case. One of the options of the court with this Brunson situation, with Brunson saying that Congress did not do its 10-day duty, the court could very well remand it back to Congress and say, you need to read the black letter of the law in the Constitution and do your study the way you're supposed to. And something I thought I was going to do a show about was there's 385 people roughly in that complaint. Now I'm back on Brunson now. Hi, Simpson. Merry Christmas to you, honey. Mike, how you doing? Brighter day. Melinda. So when you think about this Brunson case, I'll give you two names that they're on the complaint by Brunson, but they wouldn't get marched out of the Capitol. And that is Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. That's just two of them. I wonder if anybody's done the math of how many of the people that are in that complaint come January 6th will be in office. I'd venture to say it's a good number of them that wouldn't be. So it may very well boil down to, well, yeah, these certain individuals maybe lose their credentials. I don't know. But I know there's some of them there, it won't matter because they'll already be gone. And those two are just an example. Kissinger, he didn't want to resign. He didn't want to run. And we all know what happened to Liz Cheney. So they're going to be out on the 3rd anyway. So anyway, boy, there was a lot of testimony. How many people watched the testimony today of what was going on in that case? And some of the stuff that was being talked about. And the defense called it flights of fancy, and of course the old conspire, and the other part is SC theories. And they brought up the person who I can't say his name. I can't even say the word PILLOW. But that man, okay, they brought him up. The defense, namely the Katie Hobbs gang, as if that were some sort of smear to belittle the efforts of the lawyers in front of the judge, saying that they were with the basically crazy people like the pill and then oh man. Okay? That's the way to spell it. PLLO. John watched it. Joy listened to some of it. And the ending statements, yeah. The ending statements, it was kind of, I'll get to that. I tell you what, that they're showing themselves, that ending statement. But there was one witness that was talking about people bringing ballots in purses and handbags. I said that word and I shouldn't have said it. Don't put it in the chats. BALL. OTS. So anyway, it's hard. It's hard when you got freedom of speech. You know, they were bringing them all stuffed in their purses and handbags and different ways. And the big one was where, you know, the one I think it was the pollster. He said 25,000 of them just popped up out of the ground. Nobody knew how they got to the counting center or where they came from. And you have to remember that she only lost by 17,000 votes. Out of how many? I think it was 2 million. Was it 2,800,000? Mr. Slippers. That's good, Philo. Slippers, Mr. Yeah. That's what I'll start trying to remember that to use it. I don't know if he can, Brandon. How you doing, Em McCarty? I don't know if he can pardon him or not. Mr. Slippers. Yep. Yeah, the closing attorney, that's just one of the insults they threw out there. They said, you reap what you sow. They were the voters that listened and tried to vote on the day of the election. He was basically saying they got what they deserved because they didn't do it another way, because they didn't do it early. So, and now they're trying to create the aura that there's a stigma on showing up on election day to vote. Isn't that something? When we all know that what the real remedy to this situation is one voting day, get your backside down there and vote. And enough of this push button world where you just sit on your rear end and let something as precious and valuable be put in danger by just dropping it off somewhere unsecure. So anyway, but there were all kinds of things that were elicited from these so-called experts. One thing was that they had to admit that at first they said they didn't know anything about the difference, any problems with the shrink to size 19-inch image or 20-inch bow, you know, all that stuff. They didn't know, you know, that's not even possible. That's something you can't prove. And then later on, it was admitted that they knew that sort of thing was going on in violation of state law. You cannot alter a ballot. You can't. And that they were doing it up until and during the day, the actual day. And so they were double talking themselves right into situations that were hard to get out of. And I heard one person say, it's not a question of whether the judge is smart, because you know he's smart. It's whether he's crooked or not. So we'll see how this shakes out. And the one thing that got me during the closing arguments was when one guy got up and he said, the first thing they're going to do is file to have the opposing attorneys sanctioned. In his closing statement, argument, whatever, he openly and publicly threatened the opposing attorneys that were doing their job. And I liken this to when the judge who dismissed Donald Trump's lawsuit against Hillary Clinton and the gang, he's decided to sanction Trump's attorneys. So this is where people are being menaced. People are being punished for being on one side or the other. And Tennessee, I agree with you. I think it's going to go that way, and then they're going to appeal it They're going to appeal it, get a judge to put a stay on that order, and they're going to go through the inaugural, and it is going to end up going to the appeals court. Yeah, and the chain, what John said, the custody, that was indisputably for 250,000 ballots. They could not provide certify a chain of what, of custody. So they've got the weight of the evidence is pretty hard to overcome. But in their closing arguments, they resorted to mockery, bringing up Mr. Slippers, bringing up that they're going to go after these attorneys that are representing the Kerry Lake campaign. And to me, it just showed how that I do consider them to be desperate at this point. Now, the fact that the pieces of paper, I'll put it that way, were changed is a fact. It's not a matter of dispute. It's a fact that has been admitted by the opposing side, not just an accusation by the Lake campaign. They admitted it today that there were texts going around doing that at different locations on the actual day of the election. So, and this company, RUN BEC, when the post office delivered them to this company, 296,000 ballots, I heard. There was no itemization of them, no chain of, and I got to be careful of that word too, but custody. Okay? So this lefty witness, I think his name's Ryan Masaya, something like that. Turns out he's a talking head on CNN, and I guess he was the icing on their cake. And boy, I'll tell you what, he did not look good. He looked as if he was reading from a prepared text 2 times, and he was asked point blank, "Are you reading something, or what are you reading?" And oh no, I'm like he's going all from memory. But if you look at the video, you can tell the way his eyes are darting back and forth that he's reading something pre-prepared. So he didn't appear credible, and his somewhat radical statements, yeah, they were broken. They weren't even that. They were what the one person testifying. He said they were not even approved seals. This was the expert who testified yesterday. He said they were just pieces of tape. Nothing you would consider to be a official way to secure and track something as valuable as that. Just a piece of tape, red tape. So let's see. Hi, Alicia. How you doing? So anyway, so I tell you, when you see comments of others while these things are going on, and you see every now and then something pop up where somebody is actually seeing and hearing what they want to see and hear. I don't know if it's TDS. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, maybe they're bots. I don't know, but for some reason you got people that just deny reality, and words that are said right at the time they repeat it back totally backwards and with a completely different context than what was just said minutes ago. So we've got that psychological block, and I'm aware that some of them could be bots, but there's no denying that we have people in our own friends and family circle in some cases, where you just see it yourself, that down is up and up is down. And what is going to knock them back on the track of logic, back on the railway? What's going to bump them back on the tracks? I don't know. But we'll see how this, and maybe this is why we have to go through this, because I was like, man, just put them all in jail. And I know it's not that simple. And the biggest part of this is the educational part, so we can move forward as a unified society as much as possible. I was watching one video a couple months ago. A young lady did. I got to see if I got a clip from it, but I think it was the time when I got taken down and had to be quiet for 2 weeks and stuff. But she described her own experiences as a young person, very young, and how she was not treated well, I'll put it that way, by the adults around her. In other words, she'd been taken advantage of as a very young person. And her point was basically, there is no forgiveness. And there is no getting along with people like that. And I thought it was a very powerful clip. And she's got children of her own now. And she's another person trying to reclaim her life. And from people in a system that was harmful to her when she was too young to do anything about it. And I thought that was very powerful. So now that has to do with the little ones. I know that's different than disagreeing with somebody about the veracity of a election. But there's going to be some horrible truths coming up, and we are going to be in a situation of what is something that can be forgiven and what is something that can't be. And that's why I discourage the notion of everybody that is participating or thought to be participating in these things we do in November every 2 years and every 4 years, to automatically say, oh, they've got to suffer the ultimate penalty, because that's just not the case. No civilization acts that way, but there are certain things that that aren't forgivable, and that's got to be sprinkled in there along with this education process we're going through now. And we're going to find out that a lot of these companies that are tied into, like this company that was handling the pieces of paper, they're going to be tied to a lot of other things that are very unsavory. And that many people in our three-letter agencies are also tied together with that. Not just three-letter agencies. I mean, you look at Dr. Ouchy, right? They have been dangling those drops about the Twitter files on him, Dr. Ouchy, for over a week. Everybody, including the baddies, was thinking, oh, is they going to put out something on him? And they have been dripping stuff out, but they haven't let the real stuff out. And but his ties and his wife's ties to certain politicians and people in other areas of our government, they're going to tie it all together, and it's going to take time. Yes, that's right, Tennessee. We need to be there for them, and we need to explain it in a rational way. We need to explain it in a rational way. And not where people, that's right, follow Stockholm Syndrome. If you're all probably aware of it, if you're not, look it up. And people, it's scary for people to hear stuff like that. That all these thousands of people are guilty of treason, and this is the penalty for that. This is the penalty in the Constitution. Like they're going to run around and do something to thousands of people or tens of thousands of people. That's basically what some people are saying is the remedy. And it turns people off, it scares people, and it increases just what Philo said, Stockholm Syndrome. It exacerbates, where people feel trapped and they want to go along to get along, and they don't want to rock the boat. But if they see us, first of all, accept that there's a problem and are presented with a solution, and it is non-threatening, not dangerous, that's when people are going to start looking for a way out. They're in the darkness, and you got to show them. Start with a keyhole, a little light coming through the keyhole where they say, "Oh, there's a door," and then they can feel for the knob, and or door starts opening, and they start seeing light. But if you're being menacing and threatening and predicting terrible conflict in the pitch black, people are going to huddle in the corner. So we'll get there, and we're getting there. It just takes a long time. It took them over 100 years to pound us into this situation where we are now. I know my grandparents and great grandparents did not think the way that they've got many of us, many Americans, and especially the last couple of generations, how they've got us thinking. But let me just stop for a second and look in the chats. How are y'all getting through this cold weather coming up? Everybody ready for that? How's everybody doing? Getting the cat in, leave your water running so it won't freeze? That's what I did. That's right, Mac. You don't hurt the little ones. But this reminds me of something I should have got a clip of a couple of years back. But then again, I never thought I'd be doing this sort of thing. Where Mr. Key was at the climate summit when he told them to get lost. We weren't going to send trillions of dollars to Europe to fight climate change. And he sat there and he said, actually, it's going to get a lot colder. Y'all remember him saying that? He was sitting at a table and he had a lot of people around. He might have been at a disaster area here in the U.S. when he said that. I'll have to see if I can look that up. Max Spock said, lots of hot coffee. That's good, right? Trump did say it's going to get colder. And this weather is historic that's coming through. It's dangerous and it's historic. Yes, and McCarthy, I filled up my bathtub so I got something to flush the toilets with in case something does go out. Pappy Two Bears, how you doing? And remember, if your pipes do freeze, open them up. So when they start to thaw, maybe you'll save them from busting. If you leave them closed, that increases the chances of them busting. But it's better off to leave them running a little bit. Moving water, it's harder for it to freeze. And Bobcat, he's got wood split in the house, generator, fuel ready, food, water, and my Rottweilers. I'll put that on the screen. Everybody get set up like Vilo's got set up. Even if you got to borrow the neighbor's Rottweilers. Yeah, I don't have any dog. I say, remember that song, the band 3 Dog Night? That's where it came from. It was so cold it was a 3 dog night. But all I got is this goofy little cat running around here. So I figure I would feed her real good. Because when they got food in their belly, their body gets warmer. And if worse comes worse, I'll just pick her up and stuff her in my coat. And zip coat up. She better not scratch me. She knows better. Ha ha, Don's buying a sweater for your son's dog so he won't be too cold. Well, yeah, it's going to be tonight. Going to be tonight. Tennessee's working in this stuff. Oh, my God. Wait. Hope you got some good gloves on. Carhartts. I had to get wood. I had to cut off a well pump and do a lot of stuff. And I came here, plopped down. That's why I didn't do a live stream last night. I just, yeah, it's too much. And I said, oh, well. Yeah, put your plants in, Debbie. How you doing? Down there in the Florida Panhandle. That's right. Hi, Finey Dory. How are you? So, yeah, that's the thing is keep that water running. And you love Three Dog Night. Yep. We show our age when we talk about stuff like that, don't we? I could play some of that, but then I get a copyright strike. The computer could pick that out in seconds. Seconds. Patricia, you're in Boston. Oh, my God. You're going to be... Whew. Lori, no, don't talk like that. We're not going to have nothing going on with Russia, honey. Like I tell you, Biden will be out of there before that happens. Haha, 3 German Shepherds. That's right. Well, you feed them, their body gets warmer. It's like when we had horses. If you gave them grain at night and put a blanket over their back, but you fed them some grain, their own body would generate more heat if they ate good. Sin, how you doing? Patricia, how you doing? 0 degrees and minus 19. Good Lord. Well, I tell you, are they trying to freeze us? I got no idea, but Mr. T said he did say it was going to get colder. He said it a couple of years ago when they were talking about it before they got into the big swing of climate change. They were talking about global warming, and I was going to put that in one of the comments on a show I was on. I go to NPC show a lot. I was going to say, would somebody please warm my globe? But I thought somebody might take that wrong, so I didn't put it up there. Got to be careful on the chats. But anyway, so just to let everybody know that my thoughts on this AZ hearing was that there were 2 things they have to show. Either that the actual numbers were an error and are wrong, or they have to show that they are in doubt. So I think they reached that standard, at least the at doubt part of the standards. But then again, you never know how the ball's going to bounce. And no matter what, Carrie Lake said she was going to take it, if she had to, all the way to the Supreme Court. And there's no other way for this to turn out. There's no other way for this to turn out. If Hobbs loses, she's going to appeal. If Carrie loses, she's going to appeal. If either one of them loses at the appeals court, they're going to take it to the Supreme Court. So this situation, ground zero, is going to end up at the Supreme Court. So don't get down in the mouth because Katie raises her right hand and gets sworn in, because that's far from the end of it all. And that prosecutor was saying, this has got to stop. And I was saying to myself, you got that right. But he was saying that disrespect for the elections has got to stop. And all the theories and all the Slipper Man talk, Mr. Slipper talk. What childish to us, that is so childish and disrespectful of our right to be heard at the booth, I'll say it that way. They said that there was a 60-minute max wait at some of the locations. 60-minute maximum wait. An hour. They were trying to minimize that. Well, they don't tell you that on average it was a 60-minute max. Well, when somebody gets frustrated and has to go to work or has to drop off their kids or has to do something, go to the doctor or whatever, and they leave without doing what they came there to do, they say, oh, here, that person left, that shortens the wait time. So, yeah, that's the maximum that people could stand. That doesn't mean they actually got to do what they came to do. And I'm surprised they didn't catch that. But then again, maybe they'll save that for another day. And they admitted that there was this 19 and 20 inch discrepancy that they denied earlier. And they admitted that people were changing the pieces of paper in violation of what the legislature had prescribed. So all those things were admitted. Now, this Abe Hannity is going to be heard tomorrow. And I heard some of the preliminary about that, where they were going to try to look at some of the actual pieces of paper. And I tell you, that wasn't double talk. It was triple talk. The way they're saying that they're running out of time, the judge does not have the authority to go over a certain amount of days. And because Abe Hannity's attorneys dragged their feet, that they've run out of time and the whole thing should be dismissed and blah, blah, blah. So I don't think they got their way, because it's going to be 8 o'clock, I think, Pacific time, which would be Washington, D.C. time would be 11 o'clock. That's going to be starting the Abe Hannity situation. Now, the Kerry Lake thing, has closing arguments has been done, and I don't look for the judge to give a decision till Monday. He probably wants a peaceable weekend. I don't know. But Hannity is going on tomorrow. Let me see the chat, see what's going on. Well, we gave $42 billion to him. Yeah, we did. And in the throw us under the omnibus package, there was 2.3. How much was two? I can't. Well, there's a pile of money to go after J6 people. I can't remember how much it was, the total amount, but it was a lot of money. It doesn't matter, Debbie, if they let him out. Mr. T wants them to let him out now because he made them fight for it. And now when we go after their taxes, they're going to have no defense, honey. So don't worry about that. Lots of movie left. How you doing, Patriot Starfighter? Oh, yeah, the visit to the White House. And he did address our Congress. It is. Well, you got to rub people's noses in it. Haha, what's that? Yeah, we got it all right up here. Ozone layer, acid rain, global warming, climate change, all CRAP. That's right. So anyway, hi Lucy, how you doing? So they were talking about how could you break that county up, the one in Arizona, the big county. I can't even say the name of it, Mary, and the other word is Copa. And there's a couple of strategies to do that. I'll talk about that on their live stream. But they basically, if they got control of one sheriff and one secretary of state in a county that big, they could pull these games. And we all know about the sheriff in that county. I've been over it many times. He took over Joe Arpaio's place with dirty money. But I can tell they're running out of minions, because Katie Hobbs had to do both. She had to be Secretary of State and run for governor, which is a precarious position to be in. That tells me they don't have a strong enough flunky. They had to push her out into the spotlight. That tells me they're running out of flunkies. People that are saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to risk that. You're at what, people know something's going on. So anyway, this SCOTUS thing, I thought it was odd that the plaintiff, where SCOTUS sent this case back to the appeals court in Georgia, told them to take a look at it again. And this is, this could open up something big. And but anyway, the plaintiffs were the Sons of the Confederacy, is the group who brought the lawsuit that got thrown out. The Sons of the Confederacy. And, I don't know if that is to stir up something or what it is. I just find it odd. I mean, there are a lot of groups or a lot of people that could have brought the suit, but this is something that we're all suffering from. But I don't know. They got this General AP Hill in Richmond. They dug him up today. They dug him up. A judge allowed the mayor of Richmond to have the body of General AP Hill dug out of his grave. So, I don't know. We'll see when we hear a little bit more about the Sons of Confederacy lawsuit, but it is not about anything other than the right to have these pieces of paper we submit on November to be looked at. So I'm maybe nothing will come of it, but I look for the media to turn it into something that it's not. So I don't know. Just made my antennas go up a little bit. So anyway, had you heard about Nancy emails? That was on Fox News last night. And remember when I was going over that post about Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, and I said, what's this SH, guys? And y'all came up with the name Sean Hannity, right? And I was saying, oh, because I was saying that particular post was a warning. It was to rattle the cages of the people at the top of the list there. Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, Jim Baker, MSM, and it all in the middle somewhere it said SH. And I never thought of Sean Hannity, but you all did. And many of you in the chats did. Now I'm hearing today, or yesterday, that the laptop was given to Sean Hannity and John Solomon. And they buried the story. I never would have thought that about Sean Hannity. I don't know if he was told to by white hats or what. But then again, wait a minute, I say, why would he be mentioned with all those other criminals at the top of that 17 post that basically gave them notice? So maybe he's playing ball now because of that. Like, I think a lot of people who would be in a lot more trouble than they normally would be because they're playing ball and getting on the right team. Like Donald Trump said about Elon Musk. He's doing something wonderful for his legacy. And that's an interesting way to put it. So I think back then when that post was put out back in 2018 about Jack Dorsey, I said it was whipping them in line, that top row of people, whoever they are. And the only one I wasn't sure of was the SH. Now it's coming together. He had probably done more than just bury the laptop story. And back in 2018 is when they got whipped in the line, all of them, except the mainstream media, which we're working on right now. Sean's book deal. That's right, Debbie. Nikki said she knew he was dirty. So, that's interesting. Now, this thing with Nancy, they also say there are text and possibly phone records. Please don't put it in the chats, but to a person they called FedEps. No, his real first name is Ray. And that they have direct communication between Nancy Pelosi and this person. Also, other emails Jim Jordan has possession of that are going, they want to talk about bombshells. I think we're going to be hearing some bombshells. So this is a lot of things coming. The confluence I was talking about and how they're going to lay it out and time it to where it's something people can accept and digest and understand. I don't know what the sequence is. I don't know what the timing is. I don't know which domino is going to fall first. But there are a lot of things getting set up. But I also have in the back of my mind what Donald Trump said was that Americans just haven't felt it. But they will. In other words, it's going to get worse. That's what I'm hearing from this. But, you know, if you're at the level of understanding we are, I hope everyone here in the chats are at the same level of understanding, knowing that there's a procedure going on here. A procedure. And there's a list of goals that want to be achieved for people to reach. And hi, Georgia, how you doing? Yeah, Moabs are coming. Moabs are coming. But I'll say it's going to be worse than what I've mentioned before in the past. 1976, 77, 78, 79. People had to wait in line for gas. People didn't know what to do. People were losing their homes. If your license plate was odd or even, and many of you are of an age where you remember that. And I got new viewers now that are in the I think it was the 35-year-old to 45 demographic, a lot more than what I normally have. And I thank you all my new subscribers. Please, if you want to know when I go live, please subscribe so you can be part of the chats. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to. But anyway, for many people who are are in their 30s and before think you're like talking some kind of joke about gas lines, talking about 22 and 3 and 4% interest rates on homes. When if somebody needed to borrow money, people had adjustable rate mortgages that their payments doubled and tripled because of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, inflation. The price of stuff, it's bad now, but it was worse back in the 70s. And that's what brought the Reagan Revolution. So I think this is going to be worse than that. I don't know how long we'll have to endure it. But many of us are ready and know it's coming. And I think the biggest danger, immediate danger, we had to face that we could do something about has calmed down, cooled down a little bit. And I hope you all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the thing that you get in your shoulder. That's something you could do something about. You don't have to do that. And the pressure for people to do that has decreased. And the amount of people that are realizing that that's probably not the best thing to do, and that there was something wrong with that, is growing. The number who are waking up to that is growing. Because if they try it again, and they will try to do something to scare us again, to scare us in line, the people that are saying, no, I'm not going to put that on my face. I'm not going to sit around all day wearing that. I'm not going to go roll my sleeve up for that. That's growing. So the immediate danger to our not only our psyche, but our health and the health of our loved ones, I think we've blunted that. Now we're going to be looking at an economic strangulation that, like you're a fighter in the ring, you put your hands up near your throat in case when somebody tries to choke you from behind, you get your fingers up in between, where you can resist it, and the same thing with it financially. You stock up on groceries, you be frugal with your dollars. You try to do the best you can to weather that financial storm. And you know how to do, if some power goes out, you know how to get by. What's that song? Country boys can survive and the little country girls can survive too. And, that's what we got to do. And I think we have to go through it. For the push button world, the ones who open the refrigerator up and it's always full, they push a button on their phone and they find out whatever they want. They call, come bring you food from wherever you want. Stuff like that. That crap, I think, has to be woken up. I don't know. I'll have to check that out, Georgia. You changed your picture, Georgia. Yes, hit the thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe. This channel is creator supported and viewer supported only. If you want to help the channel out, I got links in the description. I don't get nothing from YouTube. So, anyway, I'm not going to come on here and tell you all some fantastic story that something's going to happen any day, because I feel that we've got a march to continue this march. We have to go through, we got to march through this business with Arizona. We got to march through this business with the economy. Like one commander, after they rescued the soldiers who were captured by the Japanese, and they had to go on the Bataan death march. They said, how did you make it? How did you make it? He said, I put one foot in front of the other. And then I put the other foot in front of the other. And I kept doing that and doing that and doing that. So that's what we got to do. And we haven't got it nearly as bad as the men who had to march in the Bataan Death March. But we are going to see things, and we, as Tennessee said, we got to be able to rationally explain to our friends and loved ones what's going on. We're going to have a new republic. This one thing that attorney said, even though he didn't mean to say it in his way, this has got to stop. This can't go on. And that I'm talking about the way this republic has been running. And the way the weaknesses have been exploited. And the way the corruption has grown. And the way the ideology has been twisted. And the way our education system has been infiltrated. And the way our judiciary has been infiltrated. Every branch of our government has been infiltrated to some degree, except to a much lesser degree the military. And we were told that there was maybe as much as 40% of the military has to be changed out. 25 to 40%, somewhere in there. And you've seen the articles of men in uniform wearing these grotesque sadomasochist outfits and putting it on the social media. I read a letter where a lady wrote a letter saying her husband was in the military and was being unfaithful to her. And the response to that letter was the military prosecutes adultery. Okay? You can't serve in the military and be an adulterer. And not a lot of people know that. I knew a guy that was discharged 30 years ago for that very thing. Messing around with somebody else's wife. And it was dishonorable discharge. So, can you imagine what's going on in that military now? That's not being handled according to the code of conduct? A lot of people are doing things they have no business doing in that military. That's going to be cleaned out too. Oh, thank you, Finding Dory. It's in the description below. Buy me a coffee. Just Mountain Man. If you've got ZELLE at gmail.com. Hi, Freedom. Hello. How are you, honey? Any help you can do, I appreciate it, Finding Dory. You're a sweetheart. Christmas time's coming. Christmas time's coming. Christmas time's coming and I'm a-going home. Y'all remember that song? How you doing, Mac? So, we're going to look at all the stuff that we know about that everybody else has got to find out about yet. That hadn't even happened. We know all about the real players on that 6th day of January. We all know. But look how many people don't know. And I heard it mentioned on Fox News about mercenaries from Ukraine participating on that day. And I said that 6 months ago. And I also talked about back and forth mercenaries, U.S. citizens going back and forth. They're doing military operations in other countries, and some of them being recalled to do stuff like J6 here in this country. So anyway, we'll get into that. I've already gone over an hour. Yeah, Derek J. If it doesn't, well, he doesn't need to. That's my opinion, honey. Freedom, hello. Derek Johnson doesn't need to be talking that way. And I don't disagree with a lot of these. I don't want to get in arguments with him, but he doesn't need to be whipping people up. What we've got to do is some of these people who have had it too good for too long have to understand that is in jeopardy. Okay? This push button world and simple answers, and you look at how many tens of thousands of people, just the IRS thing, 80,000 of them that are hired and get paid top buck, fresh out of school. That's fantasy land, and they're hired for political purposes. You look how many people are getting paid just to go around and put comments in. I'm too small of a peanut channel to worry about that. If I get them, I'll kick them out. But I'll do like Frank does if I ever get to where I get bots in here messing around where I spin a wheel, you know. I got to find out how to do that. But I don't have that kind of reach. But you've got people that get paid to sit around and make goofball comments in videos and on Twitter and on other things to push a narrative. And all these people are going to have the plug pulled on them. And they're going to be living in the real world. So there's a lot of people that need to be brought back down to the ground. I'll put it that way. They have put their feet back on the ground that they've never had to before. So anyway, I'll get into some more of stuff, what Trump is talking about with these universities, what the goal of this strategy is. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but it ain't going to be overnight. And Katie Hobbs is going to get sworn in as governor. Don't lose your focus. And you all have a Merry Christmas if I don't get to talk to you tomorrow night. Every one of you, I hope. You and yours. Please stay warm. Remember your furry friends. Remember to keep your water running a little bit. And relax. And remember the reason for the season. We're not here to be upset. We're not here to be stressed out. We're not here to be angry. We're here, especially at this time, to recognize that we're living through an historical time, not just in U.S. history, but in world history. We're getting to see something that very few people walking the face of this earth in the past. Millions of people that have come and gone, our relatives, ancestors, loved ones aren't getting to see. Generations of people. We're at this time for a reason. And it is not to be scared, not to be miserable, not to be afraid. And we're going to be celebrating the good news in a couple of days. And we need to be ready to not only make our lives better, but the lives of our fellow Americans. And as I've said before, our greatest export is the American spirit all around the world. So here we are. We didn't choose this time. This time chose us. And we need to make the best of it. Okay, folks, I appreciate you all tuning in. And I may tune in tomorrow or Christmas Day for a little howdy do or something like that. If not, we'll see. I will talk to you afterwards. But have a very Merry Christmas.
And this is Mountain Man, over and out.